Welcome to the Din Don Show. I'm Din.
And I am Don.
And we are here
for some fun. Happy Christmas, everyone. I say happy. I don't care what you say, but I say happy Christmas. So
Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so today's episode, we're going to be talking about Korra Season 2. We have a lot to talk about in this episode. So let's go ahead and get right into it, so we can try and fit it all in. I would say let's have you start off with number one, because you had the first point. So
that's true. Where the heck was the story going? That's my first thought. I don't know, because one of the things that I just kind of thought about as I was watching it, and I watched it years ago, I remembered knowing that everything started in the South Pole. They wanted to open portals for some. Then we find out about Juan and Rava, Vatu, and Unalaq wants to release Vatu. But I didn't understand what the focus was, because at first it became like a civil war between the northern and southern, north and south pole, between the two tribes.
Which honestly I don't 100% get all the time, because they are two different tribes literally on the north and south pole, which have barely any contact with each other.
Well, they're sister tribes, though.
Yeah, they are sister tribes, yes, and I understand that, but they have almost nothing to do with each other a lot of the time, except for maybe trading.
I don't know either. And I mean, at the end of the season, you find out they become their own tribe. They become they're governed by their own chief at that point. But it seemed like it was like an idea to bring the spirits back, and then it turned into a civil war, and then it was to open up the spirit portal because the southern pole was dying. And then once that's all kind of figured out, and you find out Unalaq's actually behind all of this whole civil war, you go to Republic City to try and get help back, which then it turns into war propaganda, which I did like. That probably was one of my favorite parts, was all the movies or the movers, they called it. And then you have all of this stuff talking about about bringing the spirit world back, or opening the spirit portals, and then Korra loses her memory, and then you have this whole side story of finding out about the first Avatar and the history of Juan. And I mean, and this one I'm fine with. I know in season 1 I talked about how they had a path with the Equus and Amon and Korra trying to fight against them, and then they take this side step to talk about the pro-bending and the love triangle, and then it's
but it had a good reason for that, because she was scared and she didn't really want to face her fears at that point, and then she comes back because Amon forces
and that's true. But I feel like that it felt more I can understand this one more, where they were able to go off and talk about Juan. And then bring it back in, because it played a part of the story to me. Kind of the fire ferrets. It did.
I do have a little bit of a grievance with it, but we'll get to that later.
So I don't know, and that's just. I mean, it just whenever it didn't seem like that they had a direct focus. To me, at least, I don't know about you, but to me, I didn't feel like there was a good direct focus. It just kind of seemed like that. There's this. Okay, there's this. Okay, there's this. And I mean, and with Avatar, I talk about how they have their main goal in season 2 to get to Ba Sing Se, but yet they have this, but there's stuff that gets in their way, but they have this progression that they're going to get to Ba Sing Se. For some reason, it seemed harder in this one to follow along, because it just seemed like that there was all these breaks in the story along the way.
No, and I agree with you. I actually agree with you that there were a lot of breaks unnecessarily put there, to throw in here's this extra note here, and we're not going to explain the importance of it for a while.
Yeah. Also, quick timeout. I actually don't mind the story of Avatar 1. I know that some people don't like it because it kind of changes the idea of where bending came from, or where the Avatar came from. I mean, we never know where the Avatar came from.
The thing is, I actually don't mind it either. I actually really like that they explained the origin story of the Avatar. I actually really like that. My biggest grievance is honestly how they got to that point, to be honest. And we're actually going to talk about this later, but I think this actually is a good segue, to be honest.
Go ahead. Good.
And my biggest grievance of it is that how Korra loses her memory about the whole being the Avatar, being just who she is in general. And she gets washed up on the Fire Nation shore, and then she has her no memories, and so she's just trying to figure out what she is, and she's kind of in this unconscious, kind of comatose like state, going back and forth between her reality and Juan's memories. And I didn't like that they did it that way. What I actually would have rather had Korra be like, okay, there's a civil war about to happen, because of the spirits and everything like that. So like, what am I supposed to do? And so she talks to Avatar Aang at that point, and Avatar Aang's like, well, I don't know very much about the Water Tribe other than what I've heard from Korra. Excuse me, Katara. And why don't you actually go talk to the last Water Tribe Avatar, which would have been 320 years prior.
Yeah, it would have been Avatar Kuruk.
Exactly. And so then talk to him, see if he knows anything more about it. And if he doesn't know, he's like, you should probably talk to another one that's further back. And then maybe she starts hearing of the first Avatar of Avatar Wan. And that's where she keeps going further back, understanding more about the Water Tribe and the spirits.
Go deeper.
Yeah, exactly. We gotta go deeper, and eventually she gets all the way back to Avatar Wong, and they actually have a face-to-face conversation, and then that's when you start having the flashbacks of Avatar Wong. And I think that would have been a little bit better of a story, at least of how they did it, rather than just she loses her memory and then gains them back after she's done.
But hold on, here's something to think about. If she hadn't have lost her memory and then was able to regain the memory of Wan, it wouldn't have made her losing their past Avatar lives. Her losing it would not have been as powerful.
I think it actually would have been more powerful.
Do you think so?
I honestly think so, because she would have actually gained more of a connection at talking
because she was searching
through them.
Okay, I could maybe see
actually getting relationships between these past avatars.
That's a good point.
And at that point, when she loses that connection,
no,
exactly.
Don't throw your hands up at me.
but
I get that. And I like now that you're explaining this, because we talked about this before, like last week. I kind of was like, I don't mind it, but now that I see it, I'm like, I see how it could make the story maybe a little better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with either. So
no, don't get me wrong. Like I actually do like how they did it in the actual show. I think they could have done the way that I was talking about. I would have made it a little bit better. I don't know. What do you guys think of my opinion about it? I'm actually very curious about that because it's my idea. But anyways.
And you're entitled to your wrong opinion. So.
Yeah, I'm entitled to my right opinion.
Well, now that he brought up something that he got to grieve about, I'm going to bring up something that I grieved about. I don't understand what the point of Vaatu was. Mm-hmm. I mean, okay, and I get that, and I know there was one YouTuber I heard talk about how he felt like all of season 2 was a whole like bring yourself to Jesus thing, good, bad, God, devil complex, and I didn't see that this time. I can
see that a little bit, but yeah, go ahead.
I don't. I mean, I just see the general balance between good and evil, fighting for good, or not good and evil, just balance. And I mean, whatever, Rava is light, Vaatu's dark, Rava is goodness, Vaatu's chaos, whatever. I don't have an issue with that, I guess. I don't feel that as a big religious thing. I mean, we talked about how we thought maybe it was like we heard some things that maybe it was like a religious point saying that we need to find a more spiritual center. I don't really know. I'm not sure what the point of this whole season was, but I understood that Unalaq wanted to open up the portals to bring the connection to the spirit world back.
Right.
To me, that made sense because he felt like that us being cut off from the spirit world was unhealthy. What I don't understand is what was his purpose in unlocking Vaatu? Because, and I understand, for 10,000 years there has been it's been ruled by Rava, who has been light. Okay, and I get that, and I can get the idea that he feels like that we need to have the dark avatar. We need to have Unavatu to come and like bring 10,000 years of chaos to balance out the world.
But when you think about that, why would that be a good thing?
Well, yeah, but I mean, we understand that, and we see that, but Unalaq never explains why he thinks that's the right thing.
No, he doesn't. He never actually explains it, other than like to bring balance again to the world.
Yeah, and like I understand that, but it just didn't sit well with me because, and I mean later on, I think it's when Korra's trying to convince, Eska and Desna, the twins,
yeah.
the creepy twins,
Especially Eska.
she crazy, but when but there's at one point where Korra's trying to convince the twins to help them and to stop their father. That he's going to bring 10,000 years of chaos and it's going to be awful and bad. Unalaq says, "Don't believe everything you read," and it's like, good. Explain what? What did you read?
Yeah, no,
and he
that
didn't.
point, yeah, it's like what? It's like where's this information coming from?
Yeah.
Like don't believe everything you read. What else are you supposed to do?
Yeah, what else are you supposed to do? I mean, what you done? Dog! So that was one grievance. Another grievance I had is like, Rava died, okay? And apparently, like, if Rava dies, then there's a part of Rava left inside it, Vatu. Then when Korra tries to find Vatu, or Rava and Unalaq, and like searches through his heart and is like digging in there, she can't find him, but Jinora randomly finds Rava.
Who wasn't even the Avatar at first, but she was just very spiritual. Like I feel like that was really weird because Rava was in the Avatar the whole time, and so.
Well, no, because Rava got taken out of the Avatar.
Well, yeah, no, but like I feel like that would be a good place to like say like, oh, there was a little like a connection between them.
Rava somewhere still existed. Why the heck Jinora was able to find it? And Jinora is Tenzin's oldest daughter. Why Jinora was able to find Rava randomly and bring her to Korra in the time she needed it. It's like that whole Deus Ex Machina thing I talked about last time about. So anyway, that's another grievance. Oh, here's another issue we had.
Yeah, the portals themselves.
What was what? Explain to us, makers of Korra, what was the purpose of the portals being closed when spirits could already travel between the two worlds?
And the reason why we say this is specifically back in Avatar: The Last Airbender, because you have, remind me the name of the panda. Heibai. You have Heibai, who was literally able to go back and forth, and here's a picture of Heibai, back and forth between the spirit world and the human world, or the real world, and with no problem, no issues. And there's actually with a couple different spirits in Avatar, and even in Korra, you see a little bit of it, but not. But all of a sudden they're like, okay, now it's closed, it's sealed off.
Yeah.
So basically what they're saying is Avatar: The Last Airbenders spirits that are going back and forth are either super powerful or B, the rules don't apply to them.
Yeah. And I mean, and maybe I need to watch it again, but to me it sounded like that Wan closed the portals to separate the spirit world and the human world, or at least that there was not a connection between the two of them, a physical connection that you could walk through.
Other than the Avatar being the bridge.
Right. Well, and the Avatar doesn't really physically go there.
It's just a spirit.
He or she spiritually goes there. But
also, how did Iroh get there?
Oh, that's a good point. How did
Iroh get there?
How did Iroh make his trips into the spirit world? Wow, I forgot about that. That's another thing. Unless he did the same thing where he was able to project his spirit into there. Mm-hmm. But they made it sound like that he actually went into the spirit. I don't know. That's So, but it's like if the spirit portals were closed, why were spirits appearing in the North Pole? Why were the spirits angry? Why was Unalaq able to calm the spirits if they were closed? And they really couldn't transfer back and forth. Like what Din said is, do the rules not apply to them? Well, the other thought is like, are they spirits that chose to stay instead of go back, like the moon, like Tui and La, the moon and ocean spirit? But then there's Heibai, who's in the spirit world when Aang needs to find his way back to the physical realm. Mm-hmm. So how can Heibai go back and forth? And so
not to mention, even in Avatar: The Last Airbender, Fang,
Roku,
Fang's Roku's Fang,
mm-hmm.
he was able to go back and forth, but he wasn't actually a bridge like the Avatar was. So, but then again, was it that Roku sent him back through Avatar powers, or like it's just one of those things where it's like doesn't make sense.
And we're probably nitpicking. We're probably nitpicking. I'm gonna just be honest. I'm probably nitpicking. There's just And I think that one of the big things that I felt in this season more than the first season, it just didn't mesh as well.
No, it didn't.
I mean, it had some good things. Like I liked learning about Juan. I liked learning about the past. And I mean, I know some people don't like the airbending was given by the lion turtles because in Avatar you learn it's from the creatures that taught bending.
Yeah, it's from like for the bisons,
The dragons,
the
badger
badger
moles.
moles, the dragons, and so on and so forth.
But I mean, I guess I kind of am okay with that because you see a scene where Juan is doing the dancing dragon. If we can have that picture there, where Juan is doing the dancing dragon, and maybe the dragons help to like teach the actual bending style, not the actual use of the element. But I'm fine with that. I liked that. I thought there was like good potential. I liked the idea of it kind of being a reflection of like World War One or even World War Two and all the propaganda you could see. I loved Varric. Varric was like one of my favorite characters, and how he was trying to like play both sides to try and get a war started so that he could make money off of it. And I liked that, but there was just something missing that I don't know what it was, but it just didn't seem like they had focus to their story.
Yeah, no, it really didn't seem like they had a focus to the story at all. It was just all over the place. Unfortunately, just I mean, you were in North Pole, South Pole, World War Two propaganda, World War One propaganda, or anyway propaganda, and then you have flashbacks with Juan, and it's just going back and forth all over the
Yeah.
place, and so it's very hard to follow if you jump in kind of in the middle of it, and even if they do the previously on Avatar, it's still kind of hard to follow because they're like you don't get the whole meaning behind it because one thing that Avatar Last Airbender did really well is they reiterated a lot of things, not just in the previously on Avatar, but they kept bringing things back up throughout the whole series.
Stuff that was like in the very beginning, like in the series, early in the series or like early in the season. And there was another thing I just remembered. I think I watched because I mean I've been watching it on Netflix, and you know you can skip the intros, which it might not be. Which I probably should just watch the intros. But one thing I started to notice is that I feel like there are times in Korra where they drop details in the intros, but they're not in the actual show.
Mm-hmm.
So there was like one moment. I think it was right after Korra saw the ending of Avatar Juan's story where they lock Vaatu away. And then this next episode after that, in the intro, the guy who's given the recap drops the comment saying that now we know that Unalaq is trying to release Vaatu. That was never explained though.
No, it wasn't.
That was never explained though. And I mean, we know that because we've seen it ahead of time. But watching that, you wouldn't understand that. I mean, maybe you could start to pick from it, but we don't. We could maybe pick some things from that. But just for the intro to have to explain that Unalaq is wanting to release Vaatu, when Unalaq hasn't said that yet, according to my memory at least, I don't remember.
No, I don't remember that being that way either.
It just doesn't seem like it was explained as well as it could have been. And I mean, even like I'm watching season 3, which season 3 is the best of Korra so far. I know I'm a broken record, but there's one part in season 3 where you find out that the queen is holding all the airbenders are being kept captive to become a secret army, but you don't find that out till later. Mako and Bolin hear about it, but it's never said that they're thinking about keeping them as a secret army. Right after, and then all of a sudden, Mako and Bolin find out about it somehow, and we'll get to there next time. I know that was a red herring. Maybe we can just delete all that out. But anyway, but that's our thoughts on Korra season 2. I mean, it's good. It had potential. It had a lot of good things.
No, it had a lot of potential. I mean, even for example, the giant kaiju fish,
giant spirit kaiju fight.
The giant kaiju spirit fight. That was actually pretty cool, and actually, I really actually enjoyed it. It was I like giant monsters fighting, and I love Godzilla type of a thing.
I think I watched it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a giant kaiju fight. It was super funny.
Yeah, it really was, because like most of the Godzilla fights, for example, were in the water. It was either in the water or in the city, and this was specifically in the water. right outside the city, which happens a lot of time in Godzilla. And
Yeah.
so
And that was cool. They had like the big laser beams or the big spirit beams. Like I actually watched it again. I was like, that's pretty cool. So, so but those are our thoughts. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any thoughts or like to tell us we're right or we're wrong or agree or disagree, please leave a comment down below. Let us know what your thoughts are and maybe what we can do better for the future. If you liked this episode, please consider giving us a like and maybe subscribing for more content. And until next time, I'm Don.
And I'm Din.
And we are here for the win.